Hi, everybody. I hope you've had a good week so far. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to the weekend after this strange week. Um, so, the thing that I want to talk about today that before we get to singing is what do you do when you have to sing with phlegm? Um, I've noticed, especially being in this stay-at-home situation, as soon as I start to sing, there's always phlegm hanging out, and it's something that we have to deal with as singers all the time. Um, and as you may know, coughing too much or clearing the throat, just that usually like like if you do that too much, especially if you're doing it all day, that can be very vocally taxing and can cause issues down the line if unchecked. So we have ways of working with the phlegm. My voice teacher, she always says that we have to sing through, around, above, below phlegm. We always have to just sort of work with it. And so usually what I will do to sort of kick it around and try and manipulate it, because really it's just sitting on our vocal folds, and if we notice it in our sound, there are exercises that we can do to try and just get it to move without having to do that full like cough style clear of the throat. So a good one of those is just to go on a slide of an octave, to just maybe go like I'll usually do it on a hum, just going and then maybe I'll switch to some vowels. And that sort of just lets you move it out of the way a little bit. Other good exercises for this are like the straw exercises I was talking about in last week's video, and also all of those tongue and lip trills that we do in our normal rehearsals with Susan. There's something that we don't do that I like to try sometimes just as a little challenge, where you lip trill and tongue trill at the same time. So you're going while going, and that'll provide a lot to push the air through, and just really give you an idea of how much pressure, how much air pressure is going to actually need to be used. So that is one that I encourage doing as well. You can do that on those slides. You can do it on a fifth slide. So you can. I'm sorry you have to see this. It's like kind of gross, but. And after you do those exercises, just swallow so that whatever was in there is making its way down. Another one that doesn't have as much to do with an actual being a singing exercise, but if you just sort of snort really quick and then swallow, it's gross, but it works better than actually having to clear your throat. Just so will actually, that'll do a good bit. And these things are not like foolproof methods for getting rid of all your phlegm, but they will help you move it around to usually a point where it's serviceable. And we don't want to be coughing and clearing our throat so much, because when you're doing that, you're getting your folds basically from like full stiff to really like come together super hard. And that is takes a lot out of your voice. So try and avoid that if you can. Other things that help that don't have to do directly with singing as in exercises. If you can steam when you're dealing with any sort of cold postnasal drip, anything like that, you can either get a steamer, which I actually have one around here somewhere, but basically that's just this little machine. You pour water into it, you turn it on, it heats up the water, and then there's like a sort of like chimney that you put your face over, and it you breathe in the steam that way. Other ways you can do it, just go take a hot shower. That is like a tried and true method. And also you can just get some boiling water, into like a mug or a bowl or something, and then drape a towel over your head, and just breathe in the steam that way. These are all things that I've had to do, and they do help. The thing with the steam is that, as I've talked about with all these lozenges and things that don't make any contact with your folds, breathing in steam is the only way to bring some sort of moisture in direct contact with your vocal folds, because it's something that you're breathing in, it's passing across your folds. So if you are feeling unwell, if you're dealing with a lot of phlegm, you can go ahead and steam. That's a really, really great tool. And then your last sort of resort is taking products like Mucinex. I know that there are other forms of Mucinex, like Mucinex D, which come with a decongestant, which you may or may not need. I've had it recommended to me generally to just use regular Mucinex, and only use the decongestant if you're really dealing with something. But products like Mucinex are known as an expectorant, and they are basically meant to thin out, they basically just dry out your phlegm. The thing you have to do to combat this, though, is to drink a ton of water, because they will dehydrate you like crazy. And again, this is if like you're having a really persistent issue due to probably a cold or really serious allergies, and like you really need to sing. If you do have chronic allergies, also, that is something worth tackling most of the time if you're going to be singing pretty frequently, whether you're taking any sort of medication or deciding the allergy shots are the way to go for you. It is something that I've had basically every teacher tell me: if you are somebody who struggles with allergies, don't just let them, take you over during allergy season. Anyway, that's enough talk about phlegm. So I basically want to just hit on a couple of the exercises that we often will do this type of exercise in choir, but I haven't been putting them in the videos yet, and so I thought it would be good to go back to falsetto. Falsetto is the part of our voice that is actually our like true head voice, and we don't always hit on it that much because most of us are not countertenors, and we are not trying to train that part of our voice. But as I sort of try and approach with all of these things, falsetto is a tool. We learn things from it. We can use it for certain things. And so I just want to do a couple of falsetto related exercises so that this part of our voice doesn't get behind while we're away from our normal rehearsals. So the first one is just to, let me just pull up my piano app really quick. The first one is just this little exercise that we will start on D flat, which sounds like this. Make that a little bit louder. So that'll be up the octave. Ooh. You do this on an ooh, and you'll go ooh, and we'll go up. Ooh, 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 ooh. We can go back down. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. And you may notice that we ended up lower than we started. And this is intentional. We also only went up to a certain note as well. And basically that's just so we're not stretching the boundaries of what could be considered useful for this exercise. To push it beyond those limits, isn't going to probably yield the most useful results. So we stay within those boundaries, starting on a D flat, on the low note. The do 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 do. That low note is a D flat, and then on the high end of it, having the first note be an A flat. So it goes A flat, B flat, C, B flat, A flat, and then we go back down and end on B natural. So it goes B natural, C sharp, D sharp, C sharp, B natural. And as we move into this next exercise, you'll see why this is useful. So the next one, we'll start on a C sharp, and you're just going to be on an Ah, and you're going to go an octave up and then back down, starting in your normal, chest voice, your normal feeling voice, I guess, and then up into your falsetto on the high note, and then switch back. There are a number of different ways that we can do this, so I'll just start with the quick. So it'll be ah, 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 so then that is basically the simplest form, is just to go note, note, note. If this is something that you're like, oh, it's not that hard, that's pretty easy, you can take that transition from note to note to note with more of a glide. So the other way we can do that exercise is ah, ah, and this version, though it seems like it might be easier so that you can feel your way up, it's a little bit harder once you try it. So if this is something that you feel you don't necessarily struggle with right off the bat, it would be probably worth it to try and do this a little bit slower. And then similarly, we're going to take this exercise down lower than we started. So from the top where we started here, we're going to keep going down. And you'll hear there's sort of a hiccup between where my chest voice meets my falsetto. That's pretty normal. It takes a really, really long time to get this sort of transition, which we call flex, which is being able to move from your chest into your head, into your chest, to get that to a point where there is no sort of hitch or, that feeling. And it's something that even I'm working on. So if you hear that in yourself and it feels kind of yodely, that'll be pretty normal. So yeah, those are really the things I wanted to work on. I also suggest just going back, spending maybe 5 minutes on your favorite of one of the other exercises from videos 1 and 2. And I also put up a new sight reading for us this week. This one is not necessarily going to be very challenging in the range, but it's in a new meter. It's in 6/8, which we don't always work in. So I would really encourage you to go check that out. Just give it a try. I put an audio track with it as well in the Google Drive folder if you feel like you need a little help with it, or maybe just want to hear it all the way through before before doing it yourself. But yeah, as always, please feel free to reach out with any questions. You can let any of us section leaders know, of course, whatever your question is, and I'm more than willing to make whatever time you guys would like, because I would really actually welcome some time that we would get to work on things that we wouldn't always have time for in rehearsal. So yeah, email me any questions at nick.duffin415@gmail.com, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you.